everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Conversations with Iyobosa. So, we all know that the world is fast moving to a side gig economy. In short, these days, if you had a day job without having a side hustle, you almost feel like a waste of space, for lack of a better term. And Nigerians are becoming very adept at this. I remember growing up with my mom having 2 side gigs, and this is while having a day job. So she was an advertising executive by day, and by night, she ran a mini transportation business as well as selling luxury cookware to Lagos and Benin socialites. Wow. And also in the neighborhoods, I remember tons of parents, my neighbors, who had side gigs as well while being day job professionals. So talk about your barbershops, your salons, your farms. I mean, they did it all. And these days, with the proliferation of social media, I mean, the world has become a much smaller place. So joining me here today on the studio are 2 fantastic creatives. I mean, ladies after my own heart, and they happen to be sisters. So welcome to the show, Onome and Ufoma. Thank you, ladies, for being here. Wow, okay. So, Onome, we're just going to start with you, right? You are an accountant by day, and then by night, well, I say by night, but your side gig is you decorate cakes. Tell us your story. How do you delve into cake decorating?
It started when I first graduated from college. I started my first job in accounting, and I was bored out of my wits. And I was like, am I going to do this for the rest of my life? I can still remember looking out the window and saying to myself, I need a hobby. So I went on the internet and I saw there were some cake decorating classes. But because I know I have a very short attention span, I invited one of my girlfriends to go with me. So when I got bored with that, I can chit chat with her. Right. So we went to the class and the rest is history. Once I started baking, I used my siblings as guinea pigs. I made some awful cakes, but they would always eat them and say, oh, this is lovely, right. And so I decided, I wasn't planning to make money off of it.
So we're just going to be strictly a hobby. Just find something else to do.
Yes, this was going to be my hobby. And when I realized I was getting good or somewhat good, the goal was to make a wedding cake for my siblings. Okay. That was the goal. And in the end, I actually achieved that goal. Traditional wedding cake, I made that.
Okay. Okay. And then the rest is just history.
Yeah.
Wow.
And people, the first person called and was like, oh, did you make that cake? Oh, I would like to make a cake. I would like to order. I would pay you. And that was it.
So that was your first job, really?
Not really. Not really.
You won't call that a first job.
Yeah, the goal was to make a wedding cake for my siblings. Okay. And before then, people had already started, ordering here and there. So by the time I made her cake, I knew what I was doing because this is a wedding cake, and all eyes are going to be on it
that cake
after the bride.
Right.
And so it had to, be good.
Okay, perfect. Right. Yeah. So tell us about your first cake job then. How did that?
What was it? A wedding cake too.
Oh, it was a wedding cake as well. Okay.
I don't know what's up with these brides.
So talk about experience.
When I think back to how that cake looked, it was terrible. It was just awful. I can't believe someone, and that was a co-worker at that job where I was bored.
No, okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Wow. You know what? As much as you think it was awful, no, trust me, I'm sure people liked it, and here you are, right? Okay, so Ufoma, we'll segue to you. Okay, now you're a nurse, a registered nurse?
I'm actually a nurse practitioner with a doctorate.
Oh, right. So you're an MP with a doctorate. Okay, so my bad. You're an MP, a nurse practitioner with a doctorate degree, but you have a business called Zella L on the side, and you're into making fabulous Christmas trees. So for everyone who doesn't know, Christmas time is my absolute favorite time of the year. And this lady right here, her side gig makes fantastic Christmas trees. So how did you delve into this? How did you just wake up and just know that, you know what, this is my passion? Like, just talk us through that.
Well, I was looking for something to keep me busy.
Not because you're bored and you've been an MP, because
you
can't be bored there, right?
I wasn't bored.
Okay.
But it was more of in my family, everyone has creative genes. My mom
Okay.
is a fashion designer. My sister, she bakes cakes. So I love to decorate, and when I go out to fancy stores, I notice that I will go and move things around, change things around
In the store.
in the store, because I'm like, it wasn't done properly.
Okay.
You know? And then I would always decorate for events. I always like throwing parties and intimate events, and I would always decorate. And I decided to have an interior decorating slash party planning business.
Okay.
And I started doing that, and then I noticed that the business was really saturated.
Okay.
And my husband told me one day and said, why don't you pick one thing that you are really, really good at and focus all your energy on that, and then see how well you do, and everyone will know you for that one thing.
So carve out a niche, even
Yes.
within that saturation.
Yes. So I decided, well, Christmas trees, everyone is happy during Christmas. Everyone puts in their all during Christmas because they've had a very long year, and then Christmas time is the time they get to spend with family. They get to create memories. So I said, okay, let me do Christmas trees then. And I absolutely, I start singing It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year by September. So all my co-workers know me about,
Right.
so I started doing, that's how I started. And I did a Christmas tree. I first started, of course, myself, and everyone, was, people started getting interested. And before you know anything, especially with social media, people see you. And now I'm kind of like the go-to person in Houston for Christmas trees.
Right.
And it has just been like, I'm thinking of how I'm going to build this team where I can actually expand and be able to, because I had to turn a lot of people down because I didn't have the manpower
Capacity,
and the
right.
capacity
Oh,
to
wow.
do it. Yeah.
So what was your first, so besides, of course, decorating the fabulous Christmas tree for your house, what would you say was your first paying job decorating Christmas trees?
It was a client of mine who I had done decor work for her. I did her dining, and I picked the pieces and all that. And she
For her
said,
dining room?
Yes, and
Oh,
she
okay.
had seen my Christmas tree
Okay.
and said, can I decorate her Christmas tree? So that's how it started. Although when I look at that tree, she tags me and I'm not untagging myself.
Oh, really?
Don't tag me. But it's very good to see how big you get. And the first real big experience was when I did an outdoor Christmas tree, and that's where everyone just went crazy on Instagram. And since then it's always I really appreciate the fact that most interior decorators or party planners, I decorate their trees.
Wait, you decorated, so, oh, wow. For the pros, basically, yeah. Wow, that's it. So, I know you mentioned outdoor Christmas trees, because I can imagine those are a little bit different, maybe not even a little bit, to decorate than the indoor ones. I guess the indoor ones are a bit tamer. You can only go so tall, right, or so big. But the outdoor one, is it just whatever you imagine? Just throw it out to the imagination,
Yeah, both
I guess.
in and out, everything depends on the imagination. You can do whatever you want with a tree. The only thing is, it's the budget. What the budget is, that's what really matters. So if someone's budget is, let me just throw out a number, $1,000. You cannot expect to have, wow.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
You want, like, when people see my trees, I want them to feel Neiman Marcus. I want them to feel Saks. I want them to feel they are in New York,
Right.
walking on Broadway Street. I just want that wow effect. So that's how I've grown. And ornaments for me, or tree decorating for me, is not, just come and put stuff together. For me, it's more of, how does it make my client feel when they see the tree, you know?
So this is a good segue into my next question. Is so walk us through a day in the life of Zella L, from when you get that first so the customer calls in and says, hey, I need a tree. So from the order through delivery.
Okay.
Yeah. And
So-
feel free to leave out any secret sauce.
No problem.
Any secret sauce.
It's not, for me, I get excited, of course, when a client calls me. What they do is they look on my page and they're like, oh, I like this, that, and I'm like, okay, well, pick your colors. And the thing about me is I cannot tell you what I'm going to decorate. I'm not the kind of person that would draw up a design and present it to you. I have to come into your space and feel your environment. Your environment dictates what I can give you.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
I can have an idea in my head and immediately I walk into your home.
Yeah, like scratch that.
Yes. Is it traditional? Is it modern? Your tree has to fit the personality of your home.
Ah, right.
So that's the main thing. And people don't understand this because they feel, oh, are you Picasso? No, I'm not trying to be Picasso. I'm just trying to...
Nothing wrong with trying to be Picasso though, you know.
Yes, I just want people to understand that it's the way your environment feels. That's how it's going to. So I make sure I'm always in a very positive, spirit when I walk into your home, because that also can affect how you design.
Okay.
So
you do that. So you interact with the clients, you go to the home, fill out the space, and then you can come up with, okay,
so I'm in there. I've
here's
already
what I'm
bought all your
thinking,
stuff.
which is really what your budget, or what is your budget, and then I can tell you what I can do.
Oh no. So when they call me, they give me the size of their tree. And I tell them, here, this is the minimum budget. They don't have a choice on the minimum budget.
Okay. So Onome, let's segue back to you. Also walk us through a day in the life of Onome's Cakes, from when the customer calls and gives an order to when you deliver the cakes. Because this is where I struggle. I go on your, I'm on your IG, right? I see the fantastic cakes, and I'm thinking to myself, if I order a cake from you and you deliver it fantastically, I fear not will let me like put knife to the cake, or I will just put it on my mantelpiece and just admire it for the next 3 weeks. So just walk me through that, creativity right there.
Well, most people are, like my sister said, you're hindered by your budget, but the thing that she didn't mention is you're also hindered by creativity. Usually when people are asking for cakes, they are asking like, okay, this is my birthday, this is my theme, and now I want a cake to fit that theme. Okay. And they're like, okay, I saw this online and this is what I want. Then you give them a price and then they faint, and then when they wake up, then they're like, okay, what can you do with the budget? And me being an accountant, that helps, because I can think once people start asking for something, I've started running the numbers in my head.
Okay.
Every single cost is accounted for. So I can give you a quote and tell you this is what you can do based on your budget.
Right.
And then we go from there. Maybe because I'm the one that made the cake, most times I don't like to deliver, because it's like, oh, if I really like the cake, I'm like, why do I want to give it to you? I don't give you back your money.
Okay.
It's just imagination and budget. I can tell them something that I'm thinking in my mind about a design, but if they can't see it, then you just show it to them.
Okay.
You just do it.
Okay. And then so you say you don't deliver, they pick up the cake. So
if it's a little cake, then they can pick it up.
Okay.
But if it's like a wedding cake or something that has to be set
grand
up,
or whatever, right?
Yes, then I have to go and set it up, that kind of thing. Obviously, they would have told me the venue and stuff.
Okay.
It's when you're delivering a cake, you realize how bad the roads can be.
Because
when every little bump and the cake shakes, you're like, oh my God.
There goes my creation.
Right. You don't want, I remember one time I was driving and someone stopped suddenly in front of me and I hit the brakes and the cake went
sideways
and slapped the side of the car.
Whoa.
And I was able to fix it. But this goes back to when I was learning. I remember the cake decorating studio. The last class that for my for the cake class that I did, they told us to bring a cake from home and we will decorate it from start to finish in class by ourselves. Well, when one of the girls was coming in, her husband hit the brakes and the cake got smashed and scattered to pieces. So she walks into class with this all sad, and the teacher was like, oh, great. I'm so happy this happened because I want you guys to know what it's like in the real world. It will not always be perfect. And right there, the teacher put this cake back together.
The smashed cake.
The smashed cake, like nothing happened. So when you see that, you realize, oh yeah, the cake hit this side. All I need to do is get to the venue before everybody gets there. Because when everybody surrounds you and they're like, oh my God, what happened? They disturb the atmosphere.
They add to the anxiety.
They add to the anxiety, So you know that these things happen because this is the real world, but you know how to fix it.
Oh wow. I would never have known. Like I would just think smash cake, okay, it's like in the bin or just put it to the side and
Her wedding cake, after setting it up, I went up to do
does she know the
something
story? Or
else.
this is the first time she's hearing the story.
I don't know. Well, let me tell the story.
Okay.
So while I set it up and I went up, and then next minute the DJ comes, oh my gosh, man, the cake is tilting. I'm like, what do you mean by the cake is tilting? I walked into the hall and the cake was tilting. And I was like, what am I going to do? Well, I found out one of the supports, there was an elephant at the bottom. One of the elephants was shorter than the other
rest.
one. But, when you look to the eye, you won't notice it. So all it just took was sticking a pencil on
to just give it a little bit of height.
Yes. And so I leveled it.
Okay.
So, things happen in the real world.
So you have to expect the unexpected, basically, right? Consider all possible scenarios.
Oh, yes.
Wow. Okay. So for you, a job is not really done until the end of the event.
Yeah.
Right? So like in this case, like a wedding, until they cut the
Until
cake.
they've cut the cake.
And it's been cut, distributed, and all of that. People have
Yeah.
enjoyed it, and you're like, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So have you had any bizarre cake requests? What? What is that? I get this kind of laughter.
All sorts of
Oh,
requests.
really?
People want all sorts of things.
Wow.
Okay. Next month I have a cake coming up, and they are very particular about what they want. A girl sent me a picture, and I just replied. I was like, the girl just sent me the picture. She didn't even state what she wanted. So I just replied casually, haha, what are these? Boobies. And she's like, oh yes, I want boobs cakes, and I need a nipple ring. Down to the color of the underwear. And she was like, oh, and the nipples have to be out and stuff. Oh, yes. Yes.
All right.
That is the cake for
Scratch
next
that
month.
then. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
So you get all sorts of random things. And the girl was like, oh, and make sure it is vanilla with red velvet swirls.
Okay, can't get
And
any
I'm
more
like, okay, that's
particular
fine.
than that.
But in the end, I was like, man, based on the size of the number of servings, I'm sorry, the cake will have to be small. So the boobs will be small. Yes.
Okay.
You will
Like
have
just
all
manage
sorts
it,
of
right?
random
Wow.
conversations. And after making the cake, I remember I had to make one of those cakes one time. And when I looked, I was like, oh my gosh, I could be a plastic surgeon.
Right, or liaise with one, right?
I'm telling you.
Okay. That's just fantastic. Okay, so Zella L is also known for, I guess it's personalized luxury gifts. Am I correct? Or was that?
Yes, I was going to delve into that.
Okay.
But I kind of, because of how successful we were this past Christmas, we decided to just focus on Christmas.
Okay, on just great. So given that it's a seasonal business, right? So really, so from September, 'cause that's what you said, right?
Well,
From September
there's
through-
Christmas in July.
Yes.
Yes.
And some people, actually, I've had people ask for Mardi Gras trees now. My main interest here is Valentine trees. My main interest is Christmas,
Right.
but I am open to
Other types of trees.
holidays.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Because I know Christmas is just more fun, for me. So, but everyone likes to celebrate different holidays. So
That's true. So do you also get requests for like even just birthdays? So some people having maybe fantastic events and they just want, maybe this is more in line with like interior decor for the event and
so which last year I just right before the Christmas season I did an intimate birthday party. I did the styling. Of course, my sister did the cake.
Okay.
But I would only take on clients that want everything custom made.
Okay.
Up to their straws, everything.
Oh wow.
has to
Okay,
be-
everything.
Because I like
Silverware,
yes,
everything.
because that's what I do for my personal events.
Okay.
And that's how I want to be represented every time I have an event.
Okay.
So yes,
So you bring on the full experience basically.
the full experience.
Okay.
And those are clients that just pay and don't want to know anything. Here's my money, here's my color scheme.
Which are like the best types of clients
Yes.
like, to have, if you ask me,
Yes.
right? It's just here's the budget, you just drop it and you just go do your thing, right? Okay. So if and this is to both of you. So if there wasn't an Ornament Cakes or Zella L, what's plan B, or what would have plan B have been? Or is there a plan B we should be discussing on this? A side gig B or C?
Not
We should be discussing on this show.
Well, not necessarily people that are creative. There are so many random ideas that pop in your mind every day. So even if I wasn't doing the cakes, I'm sure there'd be something else. Because when you're creative, the wheels in your head are always turning. Any creative pursuit or endeavor, well, probably tackle it.
Okay. Same with you, I guess.
I mean, I've tried everything.
Okay.
Styling,
right?
Decorating. I mean, you feel you can do anything, but it's how you enjoy it. That's what makes it. I mean, even in the Christmas industry, you still have clients that are difficult and clients that are exciting to work with. But I wanted to choose something that I know that regardless of whatever experience I get from any clients, I'm still happy doing it because it makes me happy. Yeah.
So to wrap up, I already heard, I think during one of the conversations here, that you guys collaborate, because I think you said something about an event she did where she baked the cake, and so I like to think you guys collaborate quite a bit and do referrals. Is that safe to say?
I mean, the thing is, a lot of people don't know we are sisters.
Right.
Yeah. So we don't tell them.
Yes,
either.
I just send her clients, and then when she sees someone asking about something that she knows I can do, she'll send them to me.
Okay.
And then so it always works. I mean, my mom is excited about that.
It's great. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. Okay. So what advice would you give to viewers out there who are watching the show and they're probably thinking, you know what, I've always wanted to take this leap to have a side gig, right? Because personal finance coaches will tell you that in order to become a millionaire, if you plan to become one, you need to have at least 7 streams of income. And in my head, I'm doing the math, accounting. I'm like, wait, I think I have like 1, maybe 1.5, maybe even 2. There's still a long way to go, right? So people out there who are thinking of doing this, what advice would you give them regarding just taking the leap?
Well, the advice is just start something, just start something. If you do something you love and you're very good at it, people will approach you. People will want your service. I'll give you a very good example. At a previous job, I had a co-worker who used to book flights for, the bosses at work. Let's say someone in HR or someone in procurement dropped the ball.
Okay.
They would run to her and she would get it done.
Okay.
So just in passing, I was like, if you're buying all these tickets and doing all this stuff for them, why don't you plan vacations for people? And she was like, So one time I was like, you know what? I'm going to Dubai. I'm meeting my mom in Dubai. You plan it. I just passed out my credit card. This girl actually created a PowerPoint presentation for me.
Wow.
And I looked through and I was like, okay. She was like, these are the things you can do in Dubai. This is where you can stay, blah, blah, blah. And I just went and picked. She booked my vacation for me. I met my mom in Dubai and we had the time.
Fantastic time.
And this wasn't my mom's first time, but this was my first time. My mom was like, this is the best time she has had.
Okay.
And that became a business for my friends. So I would say, just start. If you're good at something, people will come and people will be willing to pay. So just start doing what you're doing. Work on your craft. And eventually, people will pay for that.
So just start.
Yeah.
For me, I would say, whatever it is that you are passionate about, you have to develop this spirit of excellence. You have to think about what do I want people to see when they see me or see my brand. Find 2 or 3 people that you really admire and look at how they present their things. What makes you admire these people? Because for me, when I look at Christmas trees or I'm doing Christmas trees, I look at Jeff Lathan. He is so great at what he designs for all the 4 seasons, all the big 4 seasons. I'm like, that is what I want people to see when they see my work.
Right.
So I will tell you, be passionate, have that excellence, and go out there and try.
Wow, ladies, thank you so much for being here on the show, for enlightening us, and it's just truly fantastic. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
Guys, don't forget to follow them on Instagram. Their Instagram handles will be scrolling down the bottom. We have learned a whole lot from these superstars. The side gig economy is here to stay. So you want to be a millionaire, 7 streams of income. If you're just on number 1, go and find the remaining 6 somehow. Maybe not 6, but take that leap. Just take that leap of faith. Just start. Until the next episode of Conversations with Iyobosa, I remain your host, Iyobosa Ama, and you have a super sparkly one. Thank you. Just keep that.